Water gives life and joy to living. So use water wisely. Keep our waters clean and have fun in it. Each one of us has a part to play to ensure that there is always water for generations to come.
For a country surrounded by water, it's ironic that drinking water was once in short supply in Singapore. But today, the sea has become a source of drinking water with the opening of its first desalination plant, Sing Spring, on the western part of the island. The biggest reverse osmosis plant in the world at its opening, it uses pressure to force seawater through membranes which trap the salt and also filter out sediments.
We spend a lot of R&D effort into membrane technology. Although our track record is maybe relatively short, it's extremely focused. Because of that focus, we're able to understand exactly how these membranes work, exactly what applications they can be used to treat water, given our customers' particular requirements.
Indeed, cutting-edge technology and continuous investments have helped Singapore's water industry grow. Since 2003, used water from homes and other buildings has been treated, purified and turned into ultra-clean water at 3 new water plants. And PUB, Singapore's national water agency, is on track to supply 55 million gallons, or more than 15% of total water demand by 2011. Hyflux, which built Sing Spring, and Keppel Integrated Engineering, which is building the 4th new water plant, are big local players making waves on the water technology scene here. These designed, build, own and operate projects were the first 2 open tenders awarded by PUB under its public-private sector partnership strategy. Keppel, a shipbuilding company, was one of the first companies to testbed new and developing water treatment technologies. Simply because, as it says, pursuing greater engineering know-how is in its DNA. And there's money to be made.
The water opportunity is one that is going to be seeing tremendous growth potential globally, everywhere in the world, because of shortage of water, because of shortage of clean drinking water. And we see water business as an opportunity that we can use our core expertise in engineering to branch out into. We also grow it through strategic acquisitions. We recently acquired a company in Belgium that has not only a thermal solutions in incineration, but has a very strong track record in water treatment. That subsidiary in Belgium has got 400 to 500 track record in the water treatment business, so that gives us a very good foundation to build our business on.
But the industry is not just for the big boys. Gram Tech, a homegrown technology company that does research and development, has created quite an impressive track record over the past 6 years. As far as it's concerned, the water scene is big enough for various niche players to make a difference, and its investor clearly agrees.
We have spent over $35 million just within the last 3 years on R&D and pilot plant alone. Most of the companies that you hear of in Singapore, they are traditional water treatment companies. We do all the R&D in the technology, and we hope to supply and service these water treatment companies.
Gram Tech built the first few desalination plants in Singapore. This small plant next to the Pasir Panjang container terminal produces some 1,000 litres of water each day. These are sold to ships berthed around the coast.
16-inch membrane has now been adopted by the US government Department of Reclamation to be the standard size for the next generation of membrane technology. The advantage of that is that it will, for large plants, it has capital cost savings in the sense that it will be cheaper and there will be operating cost savings.
When it comes to the race to develop new water technologies, size doesn't matter. And this is something PUB knows full well. It has pumped some $18 million to spearhead 29 water technology R&D projects, just one of several strategies to ensure a sustainable, cost-effective supply of water. After the break, a look at how Singapore took the first steps into a brave new water world. (1965) brought independence for Singapore. Then, building up a strong economy was critical for the young nation's survival. But this needed a reliable water supply. Yet, in the early years, while water was seen everywhere, it destroyed property instead of helping to build new ones. Drowned hopes instead of giving life to them. And flood control became a priority. Rivers were dammed, new reservoirs were built, and existing water catchments expanded. These maximized all local resources of water. Eleven-year-old Patty Lim learned about these early years in school. Her performance at one of Singapore's National Day celebrations caught the attention of Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong.
Another sign that we're maturing as a country is that young Singaporeans now understand what it takes for us to survive as a nation.
It's the little things that we share. My birthday wish for Singapore is to have a constant supply of water.
Steps towards that constant supply can be traced to an integrated approach in managing Singapore's water resources, even in its early years. Geylang River, for example, was part of an extensive network of drains, canals and rivers, bringing stormwater and rainwater to this basin. But in the 70s, it was heavily polluted. So in 1977, a 10-year program was begun to stop pollution from reaching the rivers. As the area around Geylang was the home base of charcoal traders, and numerous shipbuilders, these activities were stopped, and the river was cleaned up over time.
The new PUB, in fact, is a comprehensive water agency that has brought under one roof everybody who has got to do with water under one agency. For example, the Drainage Department, which used to be part of the Ministry of the Environment, were concerned about flood control, and they were very, if I may say so, quite obsessed about making sure that the water go out as quickly as possible. On the other hand, of course, we know that this water is all good rainwater that should not be wasted. So when we bring everybody together, they see that there's an opportunity for us to work together, that you can still solve your flood problem, at the same time still collect every drop of rainwater. If you look at the used water, in the past, again, there was a sewerage department that only business is really to treat the wastewater, the used water, treat it to a good enough standard to be discharged into the sea and the river. And those water actually are very good water.
It was a classic case of waste not, want not, and making the most of all available resources. Something Singapore's 4 national tap strategy is very focused on. The first tap is Singapore's own water catchments. The latest is the $135 million Marina Barrage, which will dam up the Marina Channel to become the country's 15th reservoir when ready in 2009, increasing the current catchment area from half to 2/3 of Singapore. Second is imported water. And third, new water. PUB has invested some $300 million in this, and 30 companies are involved. The fourth tap, desalinated water. The opening of the Sing Spring desalination plant signals the turning on of this tap.
What we're doing is really to make sure that the water, as it falls down from the skies, turn into water supply, consume, and then return back into the system, is all optimized. So in a way, we're trying not to waste the drop of water.
In fact, the drive to make sure not a drop of water is wasted makes the most of technology. And this is perhaps best shown by the hardware, which form the foundation of Singapore's deep tunnel sewage system. When completed in 2008, this $2.2 billion project will convey used water to a centralized water reclamation plant at Changi.
Everybody talk about working in a loop, in a cycle. And so this is really, if you like, our strength in water management. And in fact, many foreigners who come and come visit us and all that, remark that many a times you read about this as idea and in textbook, but really to see in practice, I think they're quite impressed that we are doing it the way we are doing it in Singapore.
One of the foreign companies which came and stayed is US-based Black & Veatch, an engineering, consulting and construction company that has been in Singapore since 1923. It has been closely involved with many of Singapore's infrastructure development projects.
Because of our involvement in a number of large water and wastewater projects here, we are able to develop a base of expertise here that we apply to projects in the region, in the Asia Pacific. And earlier this year, we have worked on a couple of projects in the US for our US clients that we are able to draw upon this Singapore experience and this expertise to apply to those projects. Now we are able to export this experience back to those projects or to other projects in the US.
It is perhaps an economic paradox. The country which is importing water should one day be exporting water technologies and experience to countries which had been ahead in the game. Singapore hopes to position itself as a global hydro hub for water treatment, equipment and services. Besides relying on the private research effort, PUB also conducts cutting-edge applied R&D in-house. For example, the Centre for Advanced Water Technology is an applied R&D facility run by Singapore Utilities International, a subsidiary of PUB. Just last year alone, SUI undertook 7 international water-related and environmental engineering projects, mainly in China, India and Brunei.
Well, over the last 40-odd years, PUB has built up quite a lot of operational and management expertise in water supply, in drainage and in wastewater treatment. What we want to do is to be able to share this expertise in the region and help Singapore build up an external environmental engineering market.
In Singapore, this market is growing too. Water-related projects awarded by PUB have already generated some $2.7 billion worth of business for the private sector here. And with the global hydro industry worth some $250 billion, Singapore is going